All right. So what did we learn in our previous session? Do you remember something?
Yeah.
We learn about variables.
Okay.
We
And
learned
about-
about the class and package
Okay.
and
Data types. Difference between
Yeah, data types.
difference between primitive and reference data types. Right? We have seen those things, and we have also seen how the data types present in primitive. So there are 8 different data types in primitive that we have learned in the previous session. Those are these things: byte, short, char, int, long, float, boolean, and double. We have also discussed why we have these many data types and what is the purpose. Right? Now let us create some variables of each type and then see. Okay. So creating some. Okay, I'll create another class. Let's leave this introduction. We're going to cover all these things in this class. So let us start creating those data types. Byte number, okay, is equals to. So since we have learned that the byte range is from -128 to 127, right? So let us see the values that we can store inside this. I'll try to store 200. Is it allowing me? Now you see it will throw me an error. Type mismatch. Cannot convert. Sorry.
Is that a problem for me only or should I for you as well? This voice is breaking out.
Oh, it's the same problem for everyone.
say it again. I can't hear you properly.
Are you able to hear me clearly, or do you have any problems?
Oh, you lose your voice, at some point. So we can hear you like, thoroughly.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll change my network. Just give me a second.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm trying to create variables with different values, and let's see that. Okay. So the range of byte is from -128 to +127. We have seen, right? This one. We have seen how to calculate it also. Now if I try to store a value which is more than that range, you see the saying cannot convert from int to byte, because this is out of range. Okay. So you can store only values within the range of this byte. The range is 127. But even if I type 128, it will throw an error. Right? So we can store only within the range that we have discussed, because the memory can be up to 127. Right. Some CISO statement which is for printing the values. Okay. Now this will print this value. Okay. So I'll skip these few of these. We have two things that are a little different: this long and float. All remaining things you can just create same. Data type, variable name is equals to the value you want to store it in. Data type, variable name is equals to the value syntax. Data type variable equals to value. So this is how you have to store. This is the syntax. Data type variable name is equals to value. Or we can also store it in a different way, like declare and then assign value. Okay, this is syntax 1. This is called as assigning a value while declaring. Assigning and declaring at the same place. We can also do it as declare then assign. Okay. Let us do that another sample. Okay. Now here I am going to create integer or character type. Char value. Okay. That's it. This is called declaration. We haven't assigned any value, but just declared a variable. Now we can assign values to this variable at any point in the code. Wherever we want, we can assign values to this variable. Now I'm going to assign a value here. Char value equals to assign a value to char, it should be in single quotes. To represent a char, you should write or you should display the character or write the character inside single quotes. For numerics, there is no need of mentioning or using the quotes, single or double quotes. But char value, you should mandatorily use this single quote. And a char value can store only a single character, like A, capital A, or anything, one, or exclamation, anything. Any character within a single quotes can be stored inside a char value. So let me create it as B. Okay. There won't be any change in the display. So okay. And so you understood the two ways. Assigning when it is declared and declare and then later assign values. You can also do like this. It's clear, right? Now let's go to the other data types where we want to discuss about long and float. Okay. To declare long variables, long number is equals to some number which is greater than integer. Okay, so like 215. You see, this is out of range for long number. So if you want to display a long number, you have to add a letter called L at the end of this number. So to represent a long number, you have to add L or you have to append L at the end of the number, so that your Java can understand that this is a long value. Clear? Okay. Now let us see after printing the value. And then we have double is equals to. So to represent double or in double, this is specifically used for decimals, right? So I can store only decimals. So that I'll show you as 123.987654. or 321. Anything. 987654321. I have stored around 9 digits after the decimal. Okay. Now let us print this. There is a purpose. That is why I'm writing this, just to show you some values in the console. Okay. Plus EPL. Then we have float FLT number is equals to, I'm going to have 123 dot 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and then I'll go in reverse. Just some random decimal number I'm creating. Okay. And then, similar to long, if you want to represent a number as long, we are appending L at the end, right? So to represent a float number, for these decimals, you have to append a letter called F. Whether it might be a capital F or small f, both your Java compiler will understand. If you append or if you append the letter F with any decimal value, then that will be treated as a float value. Okay, it is either capital F or small f, no issues. And similar here also, it might be a capital L or a lowercase l, uppercase L or lowercase l, no problem. Okay. Okay, now we have created a byte, char, all the different types. Byte is a normal, byte is a normal number. There is no need of appending special characters. But for char, we need to use single quotes. So I have shown you a sample. Without single quotes, it won't be treated as a character. Okay. And then for long number, you have to append letter L or F, letter uppercase L or lowercase L for the long number. And to store decimals, we have double, and to store decimals of float number, then we have to use small lowercase f or uppercase f to the number. Now let us see, if I add this L, what will happen? Will it print the number with the letter L? And similarly here, will it print with the letter with F? And how many decimal points will come for double and how many decimal points will come for float? Okay, let us see that. Okay, now you see byte 127, whatever we give here, that came directly. And char value B, though we mentioned it in single quotes, we are getting only the character in between the single quotes. Single quotes is not stored inside the char value. Okay. Then long number, whatever we give, it came here, but do you see the letter L? No, right? Hello? Yeah.
Yes, no, yeah.
Okay. And for double number, I gave 9 digits, 987654321. We got everything. Okay. And float number, when I mentioned letter F at the end of the decimal, do you see the full length of decimals came here? No, right?
No. Yeah.
It is truncated. So when we have the number of decimals that can be stored for float and double is different. Double can store up to 15 to 16 characters. Before and after decimal, including the decimal, it can display up to 15 to 16 numbers. Whereas float, it can store up to 7 to 8 digits. That is what we wrote here. See, float can store up to 6 to 7 values, whereas double 15 to 16 values. So that is why double I gave 9 plus 3, 12. So it is able to show us the 12 digits in the double value. Whereas float, it can store only, or it can display only up to 6 to 7. So that is why you see this 5 plus 3, 8. It is truncating to this level. Is that clear? But there is no problem here. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next number was 5. So when we have number 5 or above, it will be added with point not 1. So that is why it is going to the next number and then removing all the other values. So you understood how we store values and how we displace?
Yes,
Yes.
Nikhil.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then next is assigning. Now let us see one more data type called object type. Okay. There is another thing called as object type. Okay. Before going to object type, let me try to store a char value inside a byte. Okay. I'm going to create another variable byte, char byte. Okay. Is equals to a single quotes and store. Is it allowing me? You see here, is it allowing me? Right. Is it throwing any error? No. It's allowing me to enter the values. The value of local. Okay. Let us run this.
Am I the only one who's like not hearing Nikhil's voice like for some time?
Yeah, Nikhil, I think you have some problem with the volume. I don't know.
Yeah, because we can't hear.
I can hear now. Before I can hear, now I can hear.
Like you keep on losing in the middle. Like I can hear you and then again I can't hear you. And then I can hear you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of you facing the same problem. Uh, I changed my network also, but I don't know. Can you hear me now clearly?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly, but like in some level, we can't hear you at all, you know?
Yeah, they mean to say it's breaking out in between.
Yeah.
That might be the network problem, I think. And, I've tried both the networks. But if you don't understand anything or if you completely lose me, please let me know so that I can repeat it.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So we were trying to display a character as a byte, right? I'm converting this char to a byte. Now, when I run this, you see what is the value, char byte value? 97. But what is the value that we assigned to char byte? It is A, right?
Mhm.
So, but for A, it is being it is displayed as 97 because it is automatically converting this char to bytes. Okay. So let me try to. Okay. Let me try to assign another. That is implicit typecasting. I'll tell you. Say byte char value is equals to. So in a character, I'm going to store 125. Now you see, is it allowing me to convert this long number to char, or can I store this long value inside a char? No, it won't allow me to store long or float or double values inside a char. 125 123. See, it is not allowing us to store a different type value inside this because this is declared as a char. We have to store a character inside this. But we have another type called object. This we will use when we are unsure what we are going to store inside this, what type of value. Okay, so I'll say object char object is equal. I can can store A, and then I can create object. I'll say long object is equals to 1, 2, 3 dot 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5, something like this, and then append 10. Okay, it went out of long range as well. Okay, then object say float object is equals to, it's the same value. See, is it throwing an error? Still you can't hear me?
No, yeah, we can hear you now.
It should be the problem with network. We reconnect again to the meeting. Let's forward. Okay, now
Yes, we can hear you now.
okay. No, what's happening? So here I will not be able to store a different value in different data type, but object is a place where we can store any type of value. Any type of value, a character, a long, a float, a string, or any other values you can store inside an object. This we will use when we are not sure or when we are unsure about the type that we are going to store inside this variable. And we are unsure that we are what type of value we want to store, then we use this object type. You see, object can hold any type of value inside it. Any type of value inside it. We can also store strings inside it. String object is equals to, you see, I'm able to store a long value, able to store a float value, able to store a string, able to store a character. I'm able to store anything inside a object because object is of generic type which can store any type of value. If you do not know what type of value you are going to store inside this variable, or if you do not know what value you are going to get from a external workbooks like Excel. If you are working with Excel, you want to read some value from Excel sheet, but do we know that what is that it is being there in the Excel? It might be anything. So if you are unsure of what type of value you are going to get from a website, then also we are going to use this object type. Object is a parent for everything. Object class. We have a class in Java which is object class. This is a root class for everything. Every class we create will be a child class of this object class. You'll understand what what is the purpose and what is the need of parent and child once we go to the inheritance concept. But now just remember that object class is the child class for, sorry, object class is the parent class for any class that we have or that we create in Java. Okay, just give a second, somebody posted some questions. Okay, can I give a variable name for object, or I have to append obj at the end? No, you can give any name just to represent that this is an object value. I appended this obj. You don't have to add obj at the end. Char value as object. Okay, this is just for reference to create a meaningful name. I added obj at the end. You can also have like this. No problem. Just to have meaningful names and just to know what type of value that we are having inside is, that's why I'm writing this as an object value. Okay, general naming convention that we give or general naming convention that we follow. All right. Now I can print any of these values. It will print as it is without any issue. So long object. So loop object value. And then I have so string object. If whatever is there, it will be printed as it is. See A, and this is one long number, and this is float number, and this is a string. So we have everything stored inside an object correctly. Okay. Now let us see some reference data types. So for each primitive data type we have, so the primitive data types are byte. These are the primitive data types, right? So for each primitive type, we have a reference class. Okay. So primitive data types are by default given in Java, and we have reference classes for each data type. And reference classes looks like this. For byte, it is byte, but with the uppercase letter B. We already discussed that Java is case sensitive. Lowercase letter is different and uppercase letter is different. This lowercase letter represents a data type, whereas uppercase letter or starting with uppercase represents a class name, right? A class name should start with an uppercase. So this byte is a class which is having methods related to this byte, and short, similarly short. For int, it is integer class. For everything it will be same, but for int it will be integer. Okay, and then for long we have long. For float, float. For double, double. For char, it is string. Okay, if you want to store a series of characters, then it is a string type, and those string types to represent a string value, you have to store them in double quotes. Okay, and then for Boolean we have Boolean. Okay, so let me create reference values, or let me show you how do we use reference data. Okay, there are two ways again here also. Okay, for suppose I want to store integer value, then this is data type, same syntax. Data type variable name is equals to value. It will be same for everything. Okay, now this is my data type, and then value will be a reference integer value is equals to, I'll say 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is method 1 of declaring reference data types. Okay, method 1. We also have another way. Let me write for another data type here. Okay. Now, so to let us create a Boolean value. Boolean. Okay. Boolean reference value equals to. Boolean can store only true or false, but to store that, this is another new and false. Okay, this is method. Since this construct is deprecated, now you don't see it. Okay. Let us know this. Take any other value like long. Long reference value is equals to new. Okay. Earlier we were having another method like this. Any number if you want to use, since this long is a class, you can create an object in this way, and you can store values. Okay, 1 2 3, and you can store values like this, but I think this long is deprecated. Like these constructors are deprecated, so this we should not use from now on. Earlier we used to have this, but now they have deprecated it. So you see that this method or this long is striked off. Now it will work. Still it will work for now, but in the future they may not use this. They might remove this completely from Java. Okay, so that is why we should not use this, or we should stop using this kind of creation of values from now on. Is that clear? That is similar as Boolean verbing, same. This is deprecated, so we should stop using this way. Okay. So, if I run, store the same values. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3. Right? Okay. And this similarly for all the data types. And let me show you which is different again here. So everything is same from our things except the string. So let me show you one string, and then we can move to another typecasting and constants. Okay. So to declare a string, this is my type, string data type, and then I'll say str string value is equals to whatever I want to represent inside a string. I have to use a double quote. So here I can write anything, or you can say selenium batch. Any value, any string, anything you represent in double quotes will be treated as a string. Okay. So, str batch. Okay. All right. Now tell me. Suppose string, okay, str number is equals to. Can I store like this? What will happen? Will it be treated as a number or a string?
String.
Yes, it will be treated as a string, but still we are giving a number inside double quotes, right?
That's
So,
what.
what is the difference between this and this?
Two, it's a number. If I put, for example, date, if I put two date condition, we could bigger date. If I put the two date in the string, it will not print date.
I was not able to hear you clearly, but let me tell you. So if a number is stored inside a numerical data type, then we can perform any operations on the numbers like addition, multiplication, subtraction, or anything. But if a number is stored in the form of a string, you cannot do addition, multiplication, or subtraction because this is a string. This is not being treated as a number, right? So this is not being treated as a number, so you cannot perform the operations of numerical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, square root, or power, anything, whatever the numerical operation you want to perform, that cannot be performed on the string numbers, whereas it can be performed on the actual numbers. So that is the difference between this and this. Still, you can store like this. Okay, you can store a single character inside a string, no problem. It will be stored, but it will be treated as a string. Even this number will be treated as a string, right? Okay. Now let us see typecasting. So typecasting means conversion of one type of data to another type. So there are two types of typecasting. There are two types. There are two types of typecasting. They are implicit and explicit. So there are two types. One is implicit type and the other one is explicit type. Implicit means this is also called as widening. This is also called as shortening. So these are the two different types we have in typecasting. That means typecasting is conversion from one data type another. Okay, so the meaning of implicit is by default it will be done automatically. You don't have to do anything. It will be converted automatically. And then explicit, Java will not be able to convert by itself. You have to convert on your own. Explicit, user has to convert it and then store that variable inside that value. Sorry, store that value inside that. So these are the two different typecastings we have in Java. Okay, just above we have created some value, right? Character type in a byte. Was it throwing an error? No, it was displaying 97 right here, because this is already typecasted. This is automatically typecasted to char. Okay, now for suppose I'll store a string inside a char. Okay, str char is equals to, I'll say, is it allowing me to store? See, it will throw an error. Type mismatch cannot convert from string to char. Okay, now I'll create another thing, string. This is char str is equals to, I'm going to store a. Okay. Not this example, because there is a clash in memory sizes, so that is why it is not store character as a string. I can do this. I can convert int not char is equals to, you see, but it is able to convert this character into integer, but it is unable to convert a string to character. You got this? It is able to convert a char to integer by default, but whereas it is unable to convert a string to a char. So how will we know that what type can be converted and what type cannot be converted? We know the memory sizes or memory allocations of each type, right? We have this. So if you are trying to add an higher memory type to lower memory type, it won't be able to store. When you try to convert a lower memory type to higher memory type, see, right? Character is having less memory than integer, right? Character is 16 bits, whereas integer is 32 bits. So I am able to store a character inside an integer. I do not, or I need not do any type of conversion. By default, it will be converted to integer and stored. So this is implicit typecasting. Implicit, I don't have to do anything. It will be automatically converted. The value of character A in integer is 97. Okay, so that is why when I print this, you will see char int value is plus character. When I print this, you will see as 97. But you see here, I am unable to convert a string to a character because string is going to have a higher memory, or let us ignore a string to a character. Let us take from the primitive itself. So let us store a long value inside a short or byte. Byte, long, byte, value. To represent a long, we have to add 1, 2, 3, 4 and L. You see, it is unable to add the long value inside or unable to convert the long to a byte because long will have higher memory or will use more memory than what is available for bytes. See, long needs 64 bits of memory, whereas byte has only 8 bits of memory. is the reason we cannot convert higher type of data into lower type of data automatically. Whereas lower type of data can be converted into higher type of data automatically. This type of conversion is called as implicit type of conversion. Is that clear? Understood what is implicit typecasting? Hello. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Anju. All right. So what should we do for these kind of things? Okay. Let me comment this because when I run, it will throw an error. It will throw an exception. So let us comment this for now. I'll show you when we should do explicit typecasting or when we shouldn't do explicit typecasting. What happens when we do explicit typecasting? Okay. Explicit. So what is the range of a byte? Minus 128 to plus 127. So if I try to store 130 inside a byte by explicitly convert, okay, let us store that byte, okay, explicit cast byte value is equals to 130. So 130 will be out of range of bytes, so it won't be able to convert this 130 into the byte because byte is having lower memory and integer. This is going to take more memory than what allocated for byte. So I have to convert this. So to convert this, in front of the value, just add small braces and then convert or mention the type that you want to convert. So I want to convert this 130 into byte. Okay. So I mentioned here my type clearly within the braces. This, if you write like this, your compiler, your Java will understand that, okay, I have to convert this 130 into byte type. Once it is converted into byte type, it will be able to store inside this byte variable. Okay. What is the value that we have stored? 130. But let me print this. So converted byte value, explicitly converted value is plus explicit cast byte value. Now if I print, what is the value? Let us see it. What is the value here? What are we seeing? Minus
Minus
126. But what is the value that we stored?
130.
130. So for suppose, let us assume that it's your bank account. You have deposited $10,000 in your account, but it is showing as minus $120 or minus $10,000. Will it be okay for you?
No.
No, because if it is showing minus, then that means we are in debt of bank. If it is showing plus, then bank owes us. Right? Similarly, when I'm storing this 130 inside this byte variable, it is showing me as 126. That means it is having a negative value. It's not having a positive value. Why? What happened to our 130? Why it is converted to minus 126?
Maybe it's because of out of range.
Yeah, it is out of range, but we have converted it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens here is to get this minus 126. Okay, let me make it 131. It will become minus 125. See, minus 125. If I reduce this to 129, it will become minus 127. See, so there is a proper pattern for this. That pattern, I'll show you what is happening here. So we know that there are 8 bits inside the memory, right? Now, okay, let just take straight lines. Okay. So the range of byte is what is the range? Minus 128 till 127, right? Now, if I give a number which is greater than 127, for example, I am giving 130. Okay, let us assume that this is 130. 130. But this 130, whatever the 130 value he gave, is out of range of this 127. So if I am explicitly trying to, or if I am forcibly trying to store this 130 inside this 127, so after 127, how many extra are there here? 128, 129, 130, 3, right? So this is going to start from the beginning again. Minus 128, minus 127, minus 126. You understood?
Yes.
So that is the reason 130 is being converted to minus 126. So will it be okay for you if we convert like that, or if we lose this data? Actual value is 129, but it is showing as minus 127. It is not okay for anybody, right? If we have a different value, or if it is whatever we store, we are storing some $10,000, but it is showing us minus $150. That doesn't make sense for us, right? So that is why we will, or it is not encouraged to use, though we have explicit typecasting available, we will use only in some situations where we are confident that there is no data loss. Here we are losing the data, but there are some situations where the data loss won't happen. So in those situations, we will convert that explicitly. But for primitive type and all these things, we know that there are chances of data loss. So explicit typecasting is not encouraged or discouraged to. Understood? So this is typecasting, implicit and explicit. Implicit, there is nothing that we can do. That there is nothing we should do actually. There is nothing we should do. It will be done automatically. It will be converted automatically. Whereas explicit, you have to convert it. Okay. And why is it called as widening? Widening because for a smaller memory element, for a smaller memory value, we are giving, or we are allocating a more memory. That means we are allocating more than what is required. That is why it is called as widening. And then for higher memory type, or for higher memory type, we are allocating less memory. That is why we are calling it as shortening. Understood? Implicit is also called as widening, and explicit is also called as short. So these are the two types of casting. All right, and then we have constants. All right. So what do you mean by constant? General English term. Come on, what do you mean by constants?
The value which cannot be changed.
Exactly. Constant means fixed. The value which cannot be changed. We can also create a constant variables in Java. That means whose value cannot be altered, whose value cannot be changed. So for example, if I have this byte number value, I can assign non-constant. Okay. Now let's see. There is already byte number value is equals to 2. Okay. Now let me show you this. Byte value is equals to small v. This is the reason we have to follow the naming convention. For each variable, first letter will be small, and all the consecutive words letters should be capital letters. So since I have used small letter here, it was to make me error. Okay. Now it is okay. Byte number value is equals to byte name value plus 100. Yep. So add cache to byte. This is byte number. See, I'm able to assign a value again to this. But constants, you won't be able to change. Once you assign a value, it will be fixed. Yeah, this is not varying. Declare constants. We have to use the keyword called final. Final keyword. So let us see that. So to declare a variable, what is the type? What is the syntax? Data type, variable name is equals to value. So let us first create a normal variable, like I'll say integer. Okay, int constant value. Int constant value is equals to some 10,000. I'm storing this. So this is our normal variable. To make it constant, we have to use the final keyword here. That's it. Now you cannot assign any new value to this final constant value. Okay, you cannot assign any value to this variable. So here, if you see, for byte number value, there was already a value 2, but I'm changing it to 100. I was able to do it. But now let us see. Int constant value is equals to, instead of 10,000, I want to make it 20,000. Is it allowing me? Is it allowing me? No. What is the reason? You see, the final local variable int constant value cannot be assigned. It cannot be assigned again because this is a constant fixed value. We will not allow anybody to change the value inside this variable. If nothing is going to change, if the already existing value is fixed, then that is a constant, right? These are constants. To declare a constants, we use the keyword called final. So similar to this, we have lots of keywords in Java. So keywords cannot be used as variable names. Keywords cannot be used as method names. Keywords cannot be used as class names. So we should not use these keywords. For example, I want to declare integer value. Sorry, integer. This final is a constant, right? Final is a keyword. So if I try to use this final, int final is equals to, this will not be allowed. Final is a keyword. You cannot use keywords as variable names. You cannot use keywords as method names. You cannot use keywords as class names. Here also we cannot use variable names. Sorry, keywords. Okay. So keywords cannot be used as variables or method names or class names. Keywords are keywords. By default, Java will be detecting them as keyword. So how do we understand they are keywords or not? You see this int, color, byte, color of byte, color of final. So these are all keywords. And here also you see public, static, void, class, package. These are all the keywords of Java. So let me show you what else are there in Java as keywords. All right. When I search like this, you take me to the organization which developed Java. You see, these are all the keywords of Java. Okay. Abstract, assertive, boolean, break, byte. So we are going to cover almost all keywords by the end of our sessions, except a few things like enum keyword and then go to. These are all not needed for us. Strict FP, volatile, so transient, these kind of things. Except these things, synchronized, except these things, we are going to use almost all the keywords of Java. So these are all the keywords, and we cannot use these keywords as any of the variable names. And you see, Boolean true, false, and null also will be shown as keywords, but they are not. They are actually literals. These are exceptions. Same color. True, false, and null will be shown in the same color. If you observe, there is a Boolean value. Where did it go? Boolean. Okay, I removed it. So Boolean value is false. You see, false and Boolean is having the same color. False and white is having the same color. But this false is actually not a keyword. False is a literal, which has a literal meaning. Okay, this is not a keyword to Java, but this is a literal. Okay. So out of these keywords, we have already seen int, long, final, and then short. Okay, short. Where is this char? Yeah, char, double, float. You see, all the data types are the keywords. So that is why we are seeing that color. Okay. And new. New is also a keyword. We saw it, right? Where is that new? Yeah. Okay. So these are all the keywords. We will not be able to use these keywords as any of the identifiers. Identifier means method names or variable names or class names. Right? Clear with this keywords as well? All right. So people might get confused by using the block statements. So here is a small information about the block of blocks. I mean, which places will be used for what. So if you want to create a block of code, we use flower braces. And if you want to represent an array, then we use square braces. And if you want to represent parameters for the methods, then we use small braces. Understood? So this is all about variables and data types. Now let's go to our next topic. Keywords and constant. Okay, so we have also seen this typecasting examples. Okay, then constants we have seen by creating a final keyword, and then yeah, mostly used in a class. Okay, right. So let's go to our next topic, arrays. So do you want me to continue with the arrays topic, or is it okay if we stop for today? Do you feel that it is overloaded today?
No, it can continue.
Okay, we can continue, right?
Yeah, we are still in basic, right?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Then I'll continue with the next topic, that is arrays. Before going to the next topic, do we have any questions or any doubts in the previous topic, which is data types, constants, typecasting, keywords? Any questions in there?
No, we're good.
Okay. Right. So now let me create a new class for the next topic called arrays. Okay. All right. So till now we have seen data types, variables, and all those things. How many values are we able to store inside a variable? A single value, right? But if I have a list of values that needs to be stored, can I store in this
Your
data
voice
type?
is breaking out. Actually, you said something after creating array, right? Breaking. Can you repeat that?
Okay. second, let me see if my network, okay, network is still connected. Yeah, so what I said is let us now discuss a new topic that is called arrays. Okay, now if you see, how many values can be stored inside a single variable? How many values did we store in this? Each variable is able to store only one value, right?
Yes, yeah, correct.
So if I want to store a multiple values inside a single variable, if I want to store multiple values inside a single variable, then we go for arrays. Okay, arrays are capable of storing multiple values inside them. But there is a condition that all the values should be of same type, same data type. Okay, so the notes is already here. Arrays are used to store a group of data. Arrays are used to store a group of data which is of similar type. Different types of values you cannot store inside a array. If you declare that as an integer array, you can store only integers. If you create a string array, you can store only strings inside. But you won't be able to store any other values inside that array. Okay. So let us see how do we create arrays, how do we store values inside arrays. Okay. So similarly, okay, now I want to store multiple values inside integer array. For example, I want to create multiple numbers like your contact numbers or any other numbers. Okay, so I'm going to create a normal variable first, integer. This is the data type, and then I'll say contact numbers. Okay, this is how we create normal variable, right? Data type and variable name. After this, we will assign some values. If you want to assign, you will assign the values. But now I want to use an array which can store multiple values inside this variable. So to tell Java that, okay, this is not a normal variable, this is an array variable, I might store multiple values inside this variable. We have to add this braces. So if you add braces over here, that means this contact numbers variable is an array. Array which is going to store only integer values. And you see, to assign values, you cannot directly assign by using equals to, because arrays store multiple values. It is a set of values, right? To assign them, we have to use this flower braces. This is method 1. 1, 2, 1, 3. 1, 2, 1, 4. Okay. Or 1, 1, 9. So these are all the contact numbers. For example, 108. See, I'm able to store all these values inside this array variable. This is method 1. Method 1. What is this method? Assigning values at declaration. If you want to assign them, you already know what are the values that you want to assign. Then you can use this way. I know that I'm going to assign these values, so I'm just directly assigning these values to this variable where I'm declaring it. Okay. Now there is another method, method 2. Declare and then assign values. Okay. So this, for suppose I want to store the names, so I'm going to create a string. Okay, I'll say names. To convert it to array, we can use the braces here, or it is not at all problem if I use the braces here. Here also, for integers also, I can use the braces after the variable name or after the data type. No problem, you can use either here or here. It is still the same. So Just the reading of it will be different. This is integer type of contact numbers array, or this is string array of names. That's it, but both are still arrays. You can use braces here or near the data type. Both are still the same. Okay. Now, I want to store some values inside it. I am not going to assign the values here. I am going to assign the values later point of time. So in those situations, we have to use the keyword called new and then string. The same data type, whatever you are using here, this is array, right? I want to declare. So I have to use these braces here, and then here I have to mention the size of this array. That means I should clearly mention how many values that I'm going to store inside this string variable or inside this array. For suppose I want to store 2 values. See, or for suppose I want to store 3 values. So how many values am I going to store inside this array? That number should be mentioned here clearly. Because this should, if you don't mention the size, this is the size of array. So if you don't mention the size, your Java will not it will not be able to understand that how much memory should I allocate for this variable. See, based on the size, it is allocating memory, right? If it is byte, it is allocating 8 bits. If it is long, it is having some memory. If it is short, it is having some memory. So similarly, it is an array. But how many values are we going to store here? How much memory should I allocate this for this variable? It will not understand. So that is why it is mandatory that you should mention the size of an array while declaring. This is called declaring an array. Okay. Now, to store values inside an array, what is the variable name? What is the variable name we used for this array?
Names.
So I use names, and arrays use index based mechanism. So I use braces. Okay, is equals to, I can store some value here. For example, I'll store Bobby. So what is the I'll be able to store 3 values. So what is the position of this? In which position should I store? I have to use index 0. Okay, and then the next value, names of 1 is equals to names of 2 is equals to that. Right? I am able to store all 3 values inside this names array. Okay. Now, what happens if I try to add more names of 3? Okay, right? It is able to store. So I gave the size as 3, but it is, I am trying to store 4th value, which is an extra value within the size 3. So what happens? Let me run this. What happened? We are getting an exception. Index out of bounds for length 3. So index 3 means 4th value, but we are having only length 3. That means it is saying that, okay, bro, I am able to store only 3 values, but you are trying to feed me the 4th value. I won't be able to take it. So that is this exception. Arrays throws this exception, index out of bounds exception, when we try to store or retrieve values which is outside the boundary of that particular array. Clear? You might get some questions like, what are the exceptions have you faced in your Selenium, or when you work with Selenium, what are the different kinds of exceptions you face? So please remember these kind of some basic exceptions so that you can answer them in your interviews. Okay. Index out of bounds exception. When somebody asks what happens, then you can say we'll get array index out of bounds exception. So this is the exception that we'll get when we try to store more values than the mentioned size. Clear? All right. So now we have seen how to declare values, how to assign when declaration, and how to declare and then assign values. Okay. Now let us see reading values. Reading values from array. Now we have stored values into an array, right? We have stored values into an array. Size. Okay. Right. Reading values from array. To read the values from array, there is nothing. Just you can use this so statement, and then suppose if I want to get the contact numbers, so I'm going to use this contact numbers of. So which value I want to have? See here 0, 1, 2, and 3. Suppose I want to get this 119. So I'll use 2. That's all. If you want to read something, then you can use that index mechanism in the same index positioning. See, so I want to print Sharab's name. So I'll use this names of 1. That's it. So it is going to fetch the value from this index position from this names array. I'll get 119 and Sharab. Right? So understood how to create arrays and how to read values from arrays? All right. If you do not have any questions or any queries, it is clearly understood, then I'll continue with the next of arrays. But if you have any questions, let us discuss those.
String is a keyword, right? It's not coming in a color.
Sorry, string is a
Keyword, right? String of that square braces.
this one?
Yeah.
No, it is not a keyword, it is a class name. I have shown you, right? It is a reference type. Where is this data types?
Okay, reference class type. I got it.
Yeah, string is a class name. It is a reference
That's
class.
why it gave in uppercase.
Yeah, string is a class name, so that is why we are having its uppercase. You see the class symbol here. When I hover over it, it will show this class symbol. Okay.
Okay. No. My question is, so you are declaring the integer contact numbers.
Okay.
Names. So that's a main class, and this is the reference class.
This is primitive integer value.
Okay.
This is not a class, right? This is a primitive
Yeah,
data
that's
type.
small.
This is a keyword. That is why we are using small letter. This is a class name, so that is why we are using uppercase. If you want to use here reference, then I can use like this.
Okay.
Okay. So just to have different examples, I'm using this primitive and the reference. All right. Any other questions?
Is there any difference using primitive and regular?
Difference? Yeah, there is a difference. When you have this primitive data types, you won't be able to use, I mean, this is not a class, so you won't be able to use any value from, you won't be able to use, or you won't be having any predefined methods inside this primitive data type. But for this string, for example, let me take this names. Names is a string value, right? Names of 0. And then if I press dot, you see, these are all the, what do we say, methods, or these are all the operations that can be performed on these names. On a string, whatever the names that we will be able to perform, all those methods are already written inside the string class. So we will be able to use all those methods when we use reference type. But when we use primitive type, we won't be seeing any of such kind. For example, let me say, I want to compare to another string. I can compare it directly. There is a method called compare. Right, names of 0 is Bobby, so I'm going to compare it with Bobby. I can compare it like this. It will return a value. Now you see with this contact names of 0. This is a primitive type. So if I press dot and space, do you see any methods? Nothing. If you want to perform any operation on this, you have to write it on your own. If you you want to compare this number, if you want to do anything, you have to write it on your own, primitive. But reference, this is a class, and inside this class, we have all the methods that are needed for performing operations on these strings. Understood?
Okay.
Right. Any other
So
questions?
primitive is kind of constant. It's fixed. No one can change anywhere once it's assigned.
No, we can change the values, primitive. You can change the value of these contact numbers. That's not a problem because this is not a constant number or constant variable. You can see now I have this 1213, 1214, 119, and 108, where I can store another numbers also inside these contact numbers. It doesn't create any problems. But we do not have any by default operations. But if I create the same with the integer, okay, now you see contact numbers of 0. You see, we have all the methods which can be performed on integer.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to, you see maximum number of, if you have multiple numbers, you want to find the max. So you can use this max. If you want to find the minimum, you can use minimum. Like this, we have so many methods.
Yeah. Then why do we use primitive then? If
Just to store the data types, just to store the values.
okay. No, the reference have more options, right? By having functions and all. Then why do we need it?
But reference data types are classes, right? So if we are having classes, in the class we can write any number of methods. If you want, we will use it. If you don't want, see, now I have declared here some values inside an array. I'm not going to perform any operations. Then why should I create it as reference?
Okay, got it.
Right. And there is one more difference. So when I'm using this reference data type, I'm using a keyword called new. So when I'm using a keyword called new, this is going to create an object for these names inside your memory. It is a new object for this string. Okay. When I use new, it is going to create an object for the string class. That means a duplicate copy of the string class is inside this names variable in your memory. So that means all the methods, all the variables, all the functionality of the string class is stored inside this names object. So that is the reason when I press this, you are able to see all the methods of this string class. But when I just want to store my numbers and I don't want to waste my memory, why should I create reference types? I just want to store these values. I don't want to allocate any memory for the unused functionality. I don't want to waste my memory. So then I'll go with primitive. If I'm going to use those functionality, then I'll go with a reference type. Clear? Cool. All right. Any other questions we have? So today we have seen very basic of array, that how to declare an array, how to store values inside an array, and how to read values from an array without looping. So loops we will see a little later after this arrays. Okay. So there is some more things that we have to discuss about the arrays that will continue tomorrow along with arrays and the next topic. Okay.
Okay.
Sarah, Yanji, do we have any other questions? Sarah or Yanji, do you have any questions?
No, we're good.
Okay. Yanji?
No, Nikhil, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nikhil,
Yeah.
are you going to summarize this one? Are you done?
Are we going to?
Summarize this class or are you done? Because I want to ask you questions.
I'm summarizing this. It's already 8:30, right? I'm just closing it, winding up.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was about to say go ahead.
Okay, just quickly I want to share my screen.
Okay, just a second. I'll stop my recording because I don't want to show it in the recording.